Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Aaron Sray here on this gorgeous Wednesday evening, I should say, with that sun about to set over Campbell Stadium here very shortly. It is currently 84 degrees under mostly sunny skies with a north-northwest wind at 7 miles per hour. Current temperatures across the Big Bend, we're seeing mid-80s across inland areas near I-10. It's not until you get towards southwest Georgia where you might see perhaps 79 degrees over Thomasville, or towards the coast with a sea breeze where you might see also another 79 degrees over in St. Mark's. As for our radar, we are staying clear across the area. That's thanks to that drier air that's still across much of the area behind that cold front we've seen earlier in the week behind Ian, of course. But yeah, very dry across radar right now. Very pleasant weather outside right now. So tonight's headlines: first taste of fall at least for the past few days, but will it last? Invest 91L likely to develop into the Western Caribbean, and also reviewing some of that hurricane ways to actually help out with the situation down there in Southwest Florida. All that and more in FSU Weather.
Thank you, Aaron. Yes, that is right. We have seen a gorgeous start to our fall season here in Tallahassee with gorgeous conditions and temperatures that we've seen since Hurricane Ian actually passed through our area. So tonight we have a jam-packed show. We're going to be taking a look at weather across our region in the southeast, as well as some of the weather happening across the country. And as well, we are going to be talking about some of the post-Hurricane Ian relief and what's been happening since the storm in southwest Florida. Again, we're going to have a good jam-packed show for you guys tonight. Lots of great weather coming our way, and it's going to be a great show, so stick around. We're going to pass things back over to Nico at the Walt with a look at our local weather.
Thank you, Spencer. Yeah, it's been a gorgeous day today in Tallahassee. Right now, this sunset is looking really beautiful over at Campbell Stadium. 84 degrees, slight wind from the north-northwest at 7 miles per hour. And our radar, there is actually nothing happening for the foreseeable future or anything on later today. So everything's pretty clear, and you can expect clear night tonight. Our current temperatures hanging around the lower 80s. Here in Tallahassee, 84, it's the warmest of the region. But overall, it's really pleasant temperatures. As for our temperature almanac, we're actually a little bit below average with our low being 58, but pretty standard temperatures for early October here in Tallahassee. And part of the reason we have these it feels like cooler temperatures because of these dry dew points, these dry conditions due to the lower dew points. We have a dry air mass over the Big Bend area, keeping these dew points in the low 50s. And as I said earlier, the foreseeable future sees no rain or any sort of precipitation. You're going to have some light winds, but for the most part, it looks pretty clear for the next week. And for tonight, it's going to hang around in the 50s, partly cloudy. It's going to be a calm wind, so it's going to be a nice day to go out. And for tonight's forecast, for the whole Big Bend region, you can expect clear conditions. Everything's going to hang around in the low 50s. Up in Bainbridge is going to be the coolest at 50, but it's going to be a really nice night. As for tomorrow, 87. It's going to be a little bit warmer than it was today. Still, we're going to have those light winds from the west-northwest at 5, but it's going to be completely clear skies and still very sunny, so it's going to be a nice day to go out and do some activities. As for tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a little bit warmer than it was today. Here in Tallahassee, it's going to be 87. Bainbridge is going to be 87. But for the most part, it's going to stick around in the 80s. It won't get into those brutal 90s temperatures that we had a couple weeks ago, but it's going to stay nice and warm for most of the week. And taking a look for our week ahead, there's going to be almost no chance of rain. On Monday is going to be 88. Saturday is going to be 89 with our warmest temperatures. Our lows is going to stay down in the high 50s, low 60s. But overall, it's going to be really, really nice temperatures for the week. Now I'm going to pass it off to Ariana for a look at Florida.
That is right, and we're going to see those beautiful, clear, sunny skies across Florida for right now. And you know, look at Florida. No rain on the radar outside. There's some little areas popping up in the Gulf of Mexico, but overall, great day to head outdoors. We are living up to Florida's name, the Sunshine State, today. Heading a little bit closer into Tallahassee, nothing is really on the radar right now. Beautiful skies, some clouds out there, but very sunny conditions for most of the day, and it will continue that way as we head into the next couple of days. Right now, if you were headed to the res, it is currently 84 degrees outside, sunny, winds are calm, great day to go out there, kayak, paddleboard. I'm a huge fan of paddleboarding. It's one of my favorite go-to activities out at the res, but you know, overall, if you love to get outside, this is going to be your week to do it because sunny skies are going to persist over the next couple of days. So across the northern Florida, you can see no rain is popping up on the radar. That's why we're getting those beautiful sunny skies. We got high pressure in the area, and really we're going to see a few clouds work into the area, but overall, go outdoors if you can. Along I-95 and I-75, beautiful day if you're headed out to the roads right now. Great day for traveling. Should not have any delays in terms of weather, so if you are headed out on the road, looks like a great day. Down to Gainesville, our rivals in the south, current conditions, it is a little bit cooler down in Gainesville at 80 degrees and sunny skies. Right over here, you see no clouds in the sky other than this beautiful sunshine. So kind of wish I was there right now because we do have a few clouds here. But overall, heading into southern Florida, South Florida was impacted by Hurricane Ian over the last week. And right now, in lieu of all that hurricane that came through, sunny skies, and they are needing it because a lot of these areas saw 20 plus inches of rain. So it was a nice little break. So seeing those sunny skies is good relief for all the rain that they did see over the past couple days. Heading down to Miami though, you can see the patchy clouds, partly cloudy, 82 degrees, calm winds. So overall, great day if you are out in Miami. And in terms of rainfall, like I was saying, great week if you are going to be in Florida, at least through Thursday. You can see about an inch to an inch and a half of rain down towards Miami, but overall, the rest of the state is staying pretty dry as we head into Thursday. Current temperatures around the state, you see temperatures mostly in the 80s, and that is all due to some drier air that is across the state. So let's take a look at those dew points right now. Dew points are well into the 50s in the northern half of the northern half of Florida, but a little bit cooler, especially as you work into the south. So we're not seeing those like upper 70 dew points, and that's causing for some really nice outdoor air. But tonight in Florida, you can see clear skies for most of the northern half of the state, some cloudier conditions as you work to the south, but temperatures are relatively cool as we head into this evening, down near 80 in Key West. Heading into tomorrow though, we can see those temperatures are going to stick in the 80s for most of the region. Pretty much every area is seeing 80 degrees, but you can see it's going to be a more comfortable 80 degrees as we have that drier air into the area. So right now we're going to pass things off to Aaron.
Thanks, Ariana. That's right. So it's been a week since Hurricane Ian has devastated much of southwest Florida, and unfortunately, it's probably going to take a while for them to actually recover from this catastrophic storm that did make landfall down there. But we are still talking about an active Atlantic. We are in October still, so we still have that warmer waters across much of the Atlantic, the Caribbean, over to the Atlantic Basin as well. And we have Invest 91L right there. It is starting to move into the Caribbean, but at least the good news for the United States is that this should remain further to the south because we will have high pressure that's going to dominate across much of the southeast. And as well, as we zoom in a little bit closer to Tropical Depression 12 that was actually designated yesterday by the National Hurricane Center. If you are plotting it, it is located 16.3 north and 32.4 west, and it is moving off to the west-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Not looking very organized at this time, and it's expected not to really at all develop as we make our way through the rest of the weekend into Friday as it makes its track over the west-northwest. That's because we have a lot of that wind shear coming in from the southwest, and that's what's shearing those thunderstorms off from the tops of the storm, and it's not allowing it to actually further develop. But as we go over towards 91L here, you can see it's actually more organized than 12 there, further off to the east, as this makes our way over into the Caribbean. As I mentioned earlier, this is likely to stay off towards the south and actually just go due west over towards Central America. So the Northern Triangle, Nicaragua, Honduras might need to watch out perhaps for the system as we continue on. And it actually is a pretty good shot at developing over the next few days with a 60% chance of development in the next 24 to 48 hours and 80% over the next 5 days or so as it makes its way over towards the warm waters of the Caribbean. And as I mentioned, if you are in at least especially areas over in Central America, so Nicaragua, even down to Costa Rica too, might need to watch perhaps for some development as we continue on throughout the rest of the week. So aircraft reconnaissance there, the hurricane hunters are flying down from Puerto Rico, or actually to say from the Virgin Islands, and they're flying through the storm right now. They're not finding really much in the storm here, with surface pressure down to about 1,007 millibars, so still pretty weak, pretty not very low pressure across the system. And as we look at our ensembles here, we're going to see, or I should say our computer models, which we're actually going to see most of them are tightly clustered between Nicaragua and Honduras. So it's likely to head in that direction as we continue off throughout the rest of the week. We'll have that high pressure, as I mentioned, to the north. That's going to prevent it from curving off to the north as Ian did. But so don't worry. Right now, there does not appear to be an imminent threat to the United States currently at this time. So this is the reason why we expect development. We see very warm waters here across much of the Caribbean. Ian did take its track off to the north over the deepest, or actually the warmest water here in the Caribbean, but it's still going to take us fairly track over those really warm waters here in the central and over into the western Caribbean before it makes landfall. Looks like somewhere probably in Central America or perhaps up into the Yucatan Peninsula. So our water vapor, we're going to see a lot of water vapor, or actually a lot of vapor, I should say, a lot of moisture here over in the Caribbean. And that's what's going to allow it to develop and have that moisture fuel source over the next several days as it tracks off towards the west. But over in our neck of the woods, behind that front, we're going to see those drier conditions there. But for our tropics overview, we're going to see Tropical Depression 12 expected to dissipate soon. No threat to land. Invest 91L has a very high chance of development and is also expected to impact portions of Central America into next week. Now we're going to pass things over towards Spencer.
Thank you, Aaron. So we're going to be looking at the southeast for this evening. So taking a look across the entire southeast, looking at gorgeous conditions across pretty much everywhere. Gainesville and Blacksburg, as well as Bowling Green and Atlanta, all looking at gorgeously clear conditions. Atlanta, just a little bit of clouds, but those are higher up in the atmosphere and just a gorgeous day all around. And taking a look at our temperatures right now in the southeast, looking at temperatures mainly in the 80s and some in the upper 70s, looking at 78. That's one of the cooler temperatures in Nashville, 75 in Charlotte, 81 in Miami, 82 in New Orleans, and 81 degrees here in Tallahassee. As well, our current dew points. This is a measure of how much moisture the air can hold. And right now, we're looking at pretty dry conditions. The further north we go, looking at, wow, 33 degrees. That's pretty exceptionally dry conditions up in Nashville, 47 in Montgomery, 53 here in Tallahassee. That's gorgeous. That's what's contributing to these nice, dry, cool temperatures. And as well, it's 68 in Miami. Not too great, but not too bad. Typically in the 70s down in Miami and in South Florida. And moving on to the current radar. So like it's been mentioned before, right now we're looking at just about almost zero storms and zero rain across the entirety of the southeast, possibly some little pop-ups down here at the Keys, maybe southern Florida, and further off into the more central part of the country, but that's a bit outside of the southeast. But really in the southeast, we're just looking at gorgeous clear conditions for the next little bit. And zooming in on Georgia. So right now, not a storm or a drop of rain in sight. So these are absolutely gorgeous conditions. Nice, cool, dry temperatures and cool temperatures and dry conditions. So this is a great time of the year to be outside with your family, with your friends, with your kids, your pets, you name it, just be outside. It's great weather. And some future radar, so this is what we can expect to see coming in the next day or two. Looking at, well, it's behind the sign there, but possibly some pop-up storms down in the southern part of Florida. And really, there's not much else going on. And also our rainfall forecast. So down here, we can expect to see a little bit of rain, maybe up to ½ an inch at most in southern parts of South Florida. But other than that, we're looking at gorgeous conditions across the entirety of the state. And tonight, we can expect temperatures 75 is the warmest down in Miami, looking at 47, that's the coolest up in Nashville and Montgomery as well, 53 in here in Tallahassee, and 50s and 40s across much of the deep south. We're going to be passing things off to the desk for a look at some hurricane recovery from Hurricane Ian.
Thank you, Spencer. As most of you know, last week on September 28th, Hurricane Ian made landfall as a very destructive Category 4 major hurricane on Cayo Costa, Florida. Max sustained winds were 155 miles per hour, and this storm is already on track to be one of the deadliest in Florida history. From last that I remember, the latest tally is 105 deaths for the state of Florida, making it the deadliest hurricane since the 1937 Labor Day hurricane. Ariana, you think you could tell us more about the severity and the destruction that this storm caused?
Yeah, it was really bad. A lot of the hurricane hunters that were flying into the storm actually compared it to Hurricane Michael, which is a Cat 5 going into Panama City, that area. So, you know, it had storm surge of 6 to 18 feet in certain locations, so just very devastating on those coastal communities because you have all that Gulf water just coming in and wrecking cars, homes, and lives in the future. But damage estimates are between 28 and $63 billion of damage. So very expensive, and it is going to take a long time to recover from this.
Yeah, definitely. Some of these people that were affected by their storms, their lives are fundamentally changed, and some of these areas might not ever recover like they were before. It might never be the same because this storm is very, very dangerous. Here you can see some of the wind speed totals that were recorded by instruments during the storm. Up in Cape Coral, 140 miles per hour. In Punta Gorda, 124 miles per hour. All these wind speeds are a major hurricane, and they do massive damage. So that whole region is definitely going to take a long time to recover. It's going to be a process, it's going to be several years, and definitely there is a lot of pain that a lot of people have experienced.
No, yeah, and you can see on the screen right here, this is a major roadway that was taken out and is essentially gone, so cutting off like resources that could go into this portion of Florida, and it's really going to change the landscape of Southwest Florida, I think, for the foreseeable future, just in terms of damage and the economic losses that they had throughout this hurricane.
Yeah, some of these areas are very popular tourist destinations. I would go often to these areas, Sanibel, Captiva Island, and these areas are going to be hard economically. They won't be able to be up and running for any time soon. But there are ways you can help, and some things you can do is to donate to organizations like the Red Cross at www.redcross.org. You can also donate to the Cajun Relief at cajunrelief.org, and you can help out our FEMA at www.fema.gov. And now we're going to pass it off to Aaron.
That's right. If you zoom out a little bit further across much of the nation, we have that warmer air in place across much of the southeast here, with 81 degrees currently in Tallahassee, 82 in New Orleans, and 87 back out further to the west over the south central plains of Texas. But if you go towards the northeast here, we actually are seeing a little bit cooler weather there over Boston and Washington, D.C. That's because actually the remnants of Ian's actually providing some of that cloud cover there, which is preventing that sun to really bake the ground there. So that's why they're staying pretty cool on this Wednesday evening. And as we make our way further to the north, Bismarck is sitting at 77. They're actually behind another cold front there, but it's still pretty warm there. So but that sun's out, so make sure you dress accordingly there too. So as for our current dew points, we're seeing much in the way of drier air across much of the nation. It's actually almost like a polka dot across much of the eastern third of the nation there, with most or at least much of the southeast and over towards Tennessee and Kentucky into the 30s, which is pretty dry for this time of year. And as we start getting these cold fronts down from Canada, we'll start to see more of this drying out feature. I mean, even down to Tallahassee here, we're at 53, which is still pretty dry for this time of year in Tallahassee and for much of the Panhandle, but it's not until you get down towards Miami where you might see perhaps that moisture there in place. Out to the Intermountain West, we have those also that typical drier air over the mountains, and same thing over towards the West Coast there with that that Pacific moisture there down settling in across the coastal areas. Now, as for our wind speeds, we do see that trough, or not trough, but we see that trough actually, digging down into the south over the Canadian Shield there. And what that's doing is allowing for that counterclockwise spin around that area of low pressure there. And what that's doing is bringing down this northerly wind across our area. This is also being aided by the remnants of Ian here. As you can see, that swirl just off the New England coastline there. So that's what's bringing that drier air across much of the area. And then also the cold front, you kind of see it right here across from Oklahoma over towards the Chicago area. And as you can tell for our surface analysis, we have that cold front stretching across the central plains, and then the remnants of Ian over towards the mid-Atlantic with that high pressure right in the middle, providing us with that protection, of course, from 91L later in the week, and also that drier air coming up, at least that we've been seeing over the past few days. As for our water vapor, we have actually a couple of swirls here. We have that one swirl over Iowa there. That's what's bringing down this cold front. And you can see a few areas where there is some convection there with some showers up in the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles there, and then over into the Missouri region. And then same story up for folks up in New England with that remnants of Ian there swirling around as it's extratropical now, and that's providing some of that cloud deck, a low-level cloud deck there, those stratus clouds perhaps over New York into Washington. It's not until you go to our friends out west where we might see a little bit of drier air, especially as you make your way down towards Baja California if you are in Mexico, where we do see some of that monsoonal rains there across the four corners. And then same thing over towards the Pacific Northwest. Speaking of the Pacific Northwest, we have those clouds streaming in from the Pacific, but overall it's still pretty sunny day across much of the area. It's not until you get down towards the central U.S. where you might see some of those showers there across Iowa and over into the upper peninsula of Michigan, where you might see a few showers perhaps across the region. But behind this, we'll see some of that cooler air working its way down across much of the nation's heartland. So it's not until you go down over to the northeast as well where we see those cooler temperatures across the nation here, or at least over the past few days or so. But overall, tomorrow's temperatures should remain pretty warm across the south, with only that perhaps a few actually getting warmer too across New England and cooler across the Midwest.
Thank you, Aaron. So right now, there we go. So our temperatures for the, excuse me, not temperatures, my goodness. So looking at our local area, we got some gorgeous conditions like we have already been talking about for this episode. Looking at Lake Bradford and FSU Panama City campus, both not a cloud to be seen in Panama City campus. And Lake Bradford and Sportsplex have a few upper level clouds, but nothing too much to be worried about. And St. George Island as well is looking absolutely gorgeously clear. And taking a live look at Doak Campbell Stadium, you can see some of those upper level clouds that I just mentioned, with starting to see that sunset, gorgeous sunset tonight, 84 degrees and mostly sunny with a north-northwesterly wind out at 7 miles an hour. And the Tallahassee Airport, right now 84 degrees with no delays, and that is not expected to change at all in the next little bit. And our airport delays for the rest of the country, none really. Looking at Tallahassee and Dallas and Atlanta, New York, LA, Denver, and Orlando, all of which have little to no delays and gorgeous temperatures. And if you have a dog that you are going to be walking in the next day or two, or tomorrow I should say, 7 a.m. probably going to be around 54 degrees and nice clear conditions, so maybe wear a jacket if you're going to be outside walking your dog. 9 a.m. sunny conditions, 62 degrees, going to warm up a little bit. By 11 a.m. looking at 77 degrees and another gorgeous sunny day. And tonight, if you are an astronomy nerd like myself, you can take a look at our stars. We have gorgeous viewing conditions, a 6% waning crescent, so nice dark skies, sunset at 7:18 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 7:33. And our October outlook. So this month we have quite a few holidays in getting into the start of fall. Today is Yom Kippur, so Chag Sameach to anyone who is celebrating Yom Kippur. And also as well, we have Halloween this month. So what this graphic is showing is from the Climate Prediction Center. So this is showing what the Climate Prediction Center and what NOAA thinks is going to be happening the rest of this month, looking at possibly some likely above average temperatures for much of the country. The darker these colors that you see, these orange colors, possibility for warmer temperatures, possibly some cooler temperatures in the mid-Atlantic and up into the northeast. And tonight, Thursday night football, 60 degrees with the Colts at Broncos in Denver. The nice clear conditions as well. And this weekend against NC State in Raleigh, 55 degrees and partly cloudy. Gorgeous conditions. Hope we win. Fingers crossed. We're going to be passing things off to Ariana for another look at our local weather.
That is right. And here around Tallahassee's campus, it has been great. And as you can see right now at Doak Campbell Stadium, sunny skies. It's going to make for a really great sunset actually with the clouds for some light to reflect off. So I'm looking forward to that here in the next couple of hours right now. But temperatures around the area are 84, mostly sunny skies. And we do have a light wind coming out of the north-northwest. But in terms of rain, there is none on the radar right now. That is why we don't need to have our rain jackets out. We can simply just put those away for the next couple of days as that dry air is going to stick around and sunny skies are going to persist throughout our area. In terms of temperatures throughout the Big Bend region, sticking in the 80s right now, a little bit cooler down near the coast where we get some breeze coming off the sea just to kind of cool us off a little bit. But overall, great day if you were headed outdoors. And in terms of those temperatures, we were well below our record high today at record at 94, and we were well above our record low at 58. So overall, it was a really great fall day around the Tallahassee area. And in terms of why we're seeing that, part of that is due to this drier air that has worked into the region. So we do see dew point temperatures in Thomasville at 46 degrees. So it's making those 80-degree temperatures just a little bit more comfortable as we are headed out the doors. In terms of rain for the future, we might have a few pop-ups here and there, but overall clouds are going to work into the area, and by Thursday, sunny skies should be returning to the area. Great week ahead if you are going to head outdoors. In terms of tonight, though, maybe grab a light jacket. It's going to be about 53 degrees, partly cloudy conditions, and calm winds. For tonight's forecast, though, we can see those temperatures in the 50s for most of the area, getting pretty close to dipping down into the 40s over in Bainbridge, so a little bit cooler to our north. And for tomorrow, if you are headed out to Landis or planning to study outside, we can expect temperatures to be 87 degrees and sunny conditions. So like I was saying, head outdoors if you can. In terms of those temperatures around the Big Bend region, staying in the 80s well throughout the area, and you can see it's a little bit cooler down near the coast with temperatures just barely getting into the 80s, so very comfortable outside. And as we look at our week ahead, we can see those temperatures are going to start to rise as we head into the weekend, getting closer to that 90-degree mark. But we are going to have a cold front that works through our area as we head into the weekend, so we're going to take a little dip in those temperatures into the upper 80s for most of the area. But all I see is a copy and paste of sunshine and a little bit of clouds here over the next 7 days. So overall, looking pretty great. Head outdoors while you can, because this sunny weather, we know it won't ever last for long, so take advantage while we can. And I'm going to pass things over to Nico at the desk.
Thank you, Ariana. That's right. It feels like here in Tallahassee, we've had such a great stretch of amazing weather. It feels like over the past 2 to 3 weeks, we've had barely any rain, clear sunny skies, nice conditions just to go out and do outdoor activities. Me personally, I've been playing a lot of soccer and tennis, and this weekend I'm going to continue to do that. And over in our Seminole Sports, they're playing on Thursday, and our football team's playing on Friday, and all that is here in the South. The Knoll Soccer are playing in Virginia, and our football team's playing in Raleigh. So they're going to be also experiencing some nice conditions, cooler temperatures. But it's not just here in the South, also down in southern Florida that was impacted by Ian. It's good that they're getting this respite in weather where they're having nice conditions. But if you want to follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather and like us on Facebook at FSU Weather, you can also follow us. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/FSU Weather, and you can also follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. So these conditions, I hope, will stay with us for the near future. It seems like it will be for the next couple weeks. And we're going to take a look now with Spencer at the week outlook.
Thank you, Nico. So we're going to take really quick one last look at our the next week ahead in the next 7 days. As you can see, gorgeous temperatures, particularly in the mid to upper 80s, and that's the high temperature with little to no rain chances, just a few clouds coming in, with lows sitting in the lowest here for the next 2 days is 53 degrees. Those lows are going to jump up just a little bit into the upper 50s and the lower 60s. So that's going to be maybe 58, low 58 for the weekend, and a low of the upper 50s. So here's just one more look at your 7-day, and I am student meteorologist Spencer Blum signing off for the night. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday evening.